Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from MouseSteps.com.
And this is episode number 203.
203.
Of Mouse Steps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. All you have to do is go to their website, submit a quote request. There's no obligation, no fees, and they will continue to look for the best price for your vacation. I mean, really, we're talking about Disney, although they can book pretty much anything, I believe, around the world.
That's right, worldwide. Disneyland Paris. That's what we'll be
Disneyland Paris.
talking about this week.
All Disneyland Paris today.
Also, our official ticket agency, Maple Leaf Tickets, the best deals on tickets in town. Check them out, although you cannot get Disneyland Paris tickets from them. At least I don't think so.
We got a good deal on our annual passes, though.
Anyway, here we are. We're there. We're at Disneyland Paris. There is the Disneyland Hotel there. What a beautiful day. Looking at the castle. And, you know, we got in. We didn't have a lot of time to get settled because very early, the very next day, you had signed us up for the Run Disney 5K, and you are doing the half marathon the day after that.
Right. Well, I signed us up. Well, I signed me up like months and months earlier, and then I signed you up last minute when we actually knew we were going to Disneyland Paris. We didn't know till a month out.
There you are, bright and early in the morning. Not as early as in America, though, for these things.
No, not quite as early, though. I believe we started walking at around 6 a.m. to get from our hotel.
So this is a 5K, which is what, about 3 miles?
It's about 3 miles, and this was actually very exciting, and it's very cheap here, so that's why I signed Jeff up. He's like
$30, I think.
Yeah,
right?
it was like $31. Here it would be 80 or so, and then the half marathon was about 80.
Now, I'm not in the greatest shape of all. I certainly couldn't be doing a marathon or even a half marathon, but for a 5K, as long as you can jog just a little bit and walk fast, pretty much anyone can do it. And I'm so glad you did sign me up because I had a great time just going through the parks in this early hour. The really cool thing about the 5K at Disneyland Paris is the whole time you're in the theme parks.
Well, what I didn't realize, you know, I haven't done an actual 5K before. I have done a half marathon before, and I didn't realize that we had a lot more time than we thought. So we didn't actually stop and meet any characters, which I would do that now. The 5K, I signed you up like 10 days ahead of time. You know, it was like, he said, oh, well, I kind of wish I was doing it. It's like, oh, well, if you want to maybe see some characters, might as well just sign you up, and I can always just keep going if you decide you don't want to finish.
It was a character lover's dream, though. I mean, there's tremendous amount of characters. And like you said, we didn't stop, but I really wanted to do the video to show all this. So I'm kind of glad. I'm okay that we didn't stop because we were able to show pretty much all the characters that were out there.
But next time I would want to stop for at least a couple of them, and you can see Space Mountain there.
Just look how beautiful. It's sunrise here in Discovery Land. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it all happened so fast. All of a sudden we're in France, and now it's like daybreak and beautiful. I had such a good time.
I was a little concerned about getting there, and then it was the next day. Like I really wanted us to book like maybe one day earlier, but because of the prices, it was like several $100s difference.
Yeah, and there's a 6-hour time difference for us, so we didn't know where we were or what we were doing by the time we did this thing.
We did pretty good, actually. I mean, I did a lot better going there than I did coming back. It took me like almost the week, you know, coming back to adjust.
What I liked also is you got to go through these backstage areas, and I, of course, have never had a chance to do that. It's only our second, at least my second trip to Disneyland Paris. I know you've been multiple times.
Well, this was my 6th trip to France, and almost every trip I at least did a day at Disneyland Paris. The first time was a week. But you've now been in the parks like almost 3 weeks. So.
Well, yeah, I was just there for what, almost 12 days in the park?
And we were like 8 days of previous trip. So you've spent
I feel like a local. I feel like a local.
That's what I've said. That, you know, I feel like this is my second home at this point.
And we're going through Fantasyland. We just saw It's a Small World there, and here is a little friend of ours over there.
Well, and we're not talking about the penguin.
Yes, well, the penguin also.
But we actually have, you know, quite a few friends in Disneyland Paris, cast members and others, like website owners and stuff now. So it's a lot of fun.
It really is. Now we're going by Pirates of the Caribbean, my favorite pirates. And of course, they're cheering. They always have people cheering you on, which I think is really nice.
And that was for the half marathon as well. And the course was not exactly the same for the half marathon going through the parks.
Even for the very short, in comparison, 5K, they're giving out beverages. They're giving out water here. And she's like, Viva la France. So it was really nice. The people were really into it.
Well, I think it was just mostly water. And then at the very end, you get like snacks. During the half marathon, you actually got snacks and such at a couple of spots also
And
during
there's
it.
Bert and Mary there. We're about to go through the castle, I think.
I think that is true. And then we're going to be coming. Oh, there I am waiting for Jeff to stop filming.
I think you've done that quite a bit. There was a lot of that waiting for Jeff.
Yes. So, but anyway, coming down here, you could see what I noticed when we came through is that there was nobody coming up Main Street anymore. And I haven't done a 5K, so I didn't realize that, like, once we were done, people were coming through, runners were coming through for like an hour.
Yeah, we were far from last. I was actually impressed that we did pretty good.
We started early, so, you know, if you are ahead in the game, it really helps, and especially if you want to stop for characters and such. And it's not a timed race, so I guess whenever you finish, you finish. I'm sure at some point they're like, okay, come on, let's go. But it's very different. It's very different than doing the half marathon.
Here's Phantom Manor. I'm slightly surprised they didn't have a character meeting out here. Perhaps Jack,
Like Jack.
Or somebody like that. Or the Grim Grinning Ghost. Those three ghosts would have been tremendous.
They had very good characters, though. I know
the best is yet to come,
yes,
actually.
in the studios. And here we are going through the back. I believe this is where, are we heading toward the studios right now?
Indeed we are. I think this little area here is behind Main Street. And you can see the back side of the buildings have different theming to them. So it was very interesting as a huge theme park fan for me just to be in these backstage areas.
So here we are. They have the balloons, and we're heading into the studios.
Walt Disney Studios.
Yes, and if you've never been there, it's a much smaller park. There's not as much there, although it's double. Like when I visited in 2002, it's probably like double the amount of attraction. So there wasn't much then.
Oh, I just wanted to show a quick, there's little water.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. And this is actually in the area between backstage from the two parks. And we had a chance to pose with the elevator there from Tower of Terror. And now we're actually going into the Walt Disney Studios. And you can see there is the Tower of Terror right there.
Not only that, but you have the hat,
yes.
which you don't have a
Sorcerer's
hat anymore.
hat.
Yes. And, this was really, it was so much fun to do this. And now looking at this, I just wish we had made more stops. But it's okay. Now, Crush's Coaster is my favorite attraction in the studios. And it looks like just like a little kiddie coaster, but it is not.
It really is tremendous.
It whips you around.
Right up there with the Remy ride, the Ratatouille ride.
I really enjoy that. I like this in some ways better than the Remy ride, except getting on it is a little tricky.
Now you see this big long line. They're all waiting for Roger Rabbit. Now we did not wait. I did, of course, get some video and we got some pictures of him. But we have met him in California in recent times. So for us, he's not quite as rare, but it was still really cool to see him there.
Okay, he's totally rare, but we did see him a couple years ago.
We've seen him in recent times,
right.
Somewhat recent times.
So we've seen him like once in recent times. And there is,
This is the biggest line of all.
Yes. And this was a very long line, and not everybody ended up getting to see them. You had Linguini here with Emil and Remy.
Right, and Linguini has only been out for the opening of the attraction, and we keep getting people telling us it's the same Linguini from the opening day.
I would have really have liked to have met them if I met anybody. Also, the next day on during the half marathon, they had the Aristocats. All three, all I saw was their backsides as they went to take a break or wherever they were going, and I would have liked to have met them too.
And now we're going through the Toy Story Land, their version of that. Why don't you tell us about the half marathon, because this is going to probably wrap up pretty quickly.
The half marathon went through kind of a different area, like on the Lights Motors action set. We ran through there. So there were different areas, and also the tram tour. So where the tram tour goes, I also went through there. And running, I walk most of the way, and I run little bits of time. And so I actually got to see little bits of different parts of the studios than I saw during the 5K.
And you got to run through the Disneyland Paris on Main Street, all around there. But the thing is, you also had a chance to go through the French countryside.
That was incredible, and I wish that I was fast enough where I could have stopped and gotten some video, because it was incredible to see what is around Disneyland Paris as well, which really it's not a lot. It is countryside, for most of it.
Well, tell the story. I mean, you were very close to not finishing or not making that half marathon, but you did it. And I'm so proud.
With the balloon
so proud
ladies.
Of you.
I actually was really fairly near the end of the corrals, so I, as somebody who is mostly walking anyway, it's really hard to start from that point and just keep the momentum going. And I thought I was doing good, but at some point it's like, oh look, oh my gosh, I see the balloon people. And just about the time I walked on the Santa Fe. Oh, there's
there you
we're
go.
getting
See,
our
you
medal,
do
Sarah.
have your medal, and this. I wish I could have been there for your big medal, but at least I got to show that.
Mm-hmm. And the volunteers who were assisting with the balloons, I'm guessing they're volunteers. They were really wonderful, but they're like, just hold on to my arm, and I just was like, I probably won't hold on to the arm, but I kept walking with them, and so almost everybody behind me got swept, but I was able to keep going. And once you get on property, I had a little bit of time when you could still get swept, but for most of it, you could just walk.
We were so happy that you finished because you really wanted it bad, and that's why when you came around,
I almost gave up.
You seemed like you were like crying, and I didn't realize why you're so emotional, and that's because you came so close to not making it. So I just thought that was wonderful.
I am walking because I am not going to kill my legs at the beginning. If I'm going to run, it'll be somewhere in the middle.
Oh yeah, so this is actually the half marathon itself. I was able to get into the park and wait
there's
for
our friends,
in the morning, and here
Pam and Brian.
Mm-hmm. And there you are. You have your medal.
And there's Anita. And so it's funny because I didn't know she was even on the course till the very end. And there I am with Mickey over at Inventions.
So very exciting. What a great way to start our trip. But then
I couldn't walk.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. We both needed more so you obviously needed a little while to get
a few days. But the thing is, I can walk that much in a day, every day if I want, but to do it in 3.5 hours.
So our schedule got changed. We were originally going to go into Paris, but I don't think anybody was in any condition right after that.
No.
So we're going to jump ahead though. Halloween time. Halloween at Disneyland Paris. Boy, 2 real home runs because after all that fun with the races, follow up with Halloween.
Well, I love Halloween at Disneyland Paris. I'm just going to mention also, we're going to talk about the Loire Valley next week, and that was in between the marathon and Halloween. We did a day there. But Halloween at Disneyland Paris, to me, is... I haven't been to the Asia parks, but so far my very favorite Halloween at any Disney park so far.
And what a perfect first day. This is October 1st, and it was a very misty morning. We got there very, very early. We had the early morning entrance with our annual passes. Oh, tell about the annual passes.
We paid, just like last time, we even paid a few dollars less than last time, but about $250. The dollar is very strong now, and that's the most expensive annual pass, and that includes early morning. Now, they may raise the prices significantly this year. That's the rumor. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we just got such a great deal, just like last time on these passes.
And with the passes, it includes the ability to go into the park early.
2 hours early,
I believe.
So
so you get that is included as well as discounts and things. So it's so nice to be there bright and early for the kickoff there. And you saw how you could barely see the castle. At one point, you couldn't even see the castle.
I love when it's foggy, and so it was nice to get another foggy morning.
But the fog all burned off, and we had a beautiful day. Almost every day was a beautiful, blue, perfect day.
We had
much
almost
better weather this year.
Well, the last time we had great weather until the last couple of days, and then it poured for 2 days. This time we didn't have anything like that. We had a tiny bit of rain on the marathon day, and not much else. So it was just gorgeous almost the whole time.
What I like about Disneyland Paris is they don't just decorate Main Street, but you can see here in Frontierland, you also have the Halloween decorations.
And not only that, but over by Pirates of the Caribbean, you also have that. But really throughout Frontierland, more than before, more than 2 years ago, they also have Mickey and Minnie greeting, and then you go over towards, you have the Jack meeting. So really most of Frontierland has some sort of decoration.
And it's all included. There's no extra fee. This is just all included all of October. You get Halloween time.
Through November 2nd, and also they even give you some Haribo candy a lot of times when you're meeting
it's supposed to be for kids, but we got quite a bit of that candy.
I don't know if I think one cast member said it was for kids, but everybody else just handed out, so it just might be that one.
So let's start off with the characters. Characters were a big deal. This was something that is brand new for this year, for 2016. The Cheshire Cat was meeting, and we were so excited. We waited. We got there bright and early on the first day and went straight to see the Cheshire Cat.
The line was fairly long. It wasn't as long as here. remember when we went to see Mushu, it was like 3 hours. It wasn't anything like that. I think we waited maybe an hour ahead of time, but then it was maybe 15 minutes. So the lines, maybe you'd wait an hour or less for Cheshire Cat, and that really was one of the longer lines.
Yeah, I would say it's probably the longest line.
And this was the first day. I don't think it was this bad on, maybe on subsequent days.
Well, I have to give him credit. They kind of had him hidden way away in an area that nobody would ever go to unless you knew he was there. And I think,
or you were wanting to ride the Casey Jr.
should take advice of that. And if you're going to have a really rare character, hide him way away.
I think
even Mickey and Minnie, instead of being on Main Street, they were way far away. And almost impossible unless you knew where they were. You would not stumble upon them at all.
Right. Mickey and Minnie were sort of off in a corner here in Frontierland, so you did have to go seek them out. But, I mean, Stitch is very popular, Maria is very popular, and they were on Main Street. So, but it's, I like that they scattered them throughout the park.
What I notice about this whole bit here with Mickey and Minnie is they seem very lovey-dovey. Look at all these kisses and things going on with Mickey and Minnie. What a, after all the years they've been together, they still are, look at how romantic. I noticed.
I didn't even think about it. It was nice meeting them. When we were here before, Minnie was by herself, and Mickey must have been by himself as well.
Here comes Jack Skellington, and he was spectacular, as he was 2 years ago.
When we met him 2 years ago, he was with Sally, but the last couple of years, he has been by himself, and he is terrific. I was not with Jeff. I was at the grocery store. I did not know he was going to go meet Jack Skellington while I was gone, but it was
I'll blame it on Fan Max. It was his idea. He really wanted to see Mr. Jack.
And
he had not seen Mr. Jack.
Perfectly okay. The funny thing is that Jack Skellington, I guess, asked where I was.
He absolutely did. How amazing to be in France and meeting Jack Skellington, and Jack totally knew who we were, and he asked for Denise. Where's Denise? Unbelievable. And of course, we get to see Zero here, and it was just great. I had asked Jack if he's going to do anything with the manor, Phantom Manor over there, like he does in California, and he said he will take that into consideration. So again, Jack, wonderful, great interaction with him.
And I love Phantom Manor. I as far as a haunted mansion, but to get to see Jack, I would have liked to have met him too, but we didn't end up doing it a second time.
We also got to see Victor here. Victor, he said he had a real pain in the neck that day. That's what Mr. Skellington was telling me. Anyway, again, I can't get enough of how good the characters were. Let's see who we're going to see next.
That looks like Marie. Marie got a phone call and went inside, and here she comes to 4 people with cameras, and actually
big cameras.
Was it 4 or 5 on this day?
I believe it was 5, including you.
It might have been 5.
Some
cameras.
holding 2 cameras.
There was like a bunch of us, and so it felt a little weird, but at the same time, it was really nice to get to see her in her. She has her orange bow, and then also on top of her head.
Does Marie still meet at Walt Disney
No, I don't
World?
think so. She used to meet at I think
Town
at one
Square.
point, right? But I think she also may have met at Epcot before that. But I don't think she meets now. So she's very popular here. Again, I saw the Aristocats during the half marathon for a second, just their tails. And
oh, yeah.
I would have liked to have met them. And here's Stitch in his same Halloween costume as 2 years ago.
Now, Stitch actually alternates with Daisy Duck. So in the morning, you get Stitch because Daisy is part of the parade, and we're going to see the parade very soon.
And they don't alternate where it's like a half hour. It's
a half day. Like
right.
you until 4 o'clock, you're going to get Stitch, and after 4, you'll get Daisy. Stitch, again, almost all the characters were outstanding.
They were all outstanding.
As was Stitch here.
It looks like he's hiding from everybody. I think that's like a sewing machine there also. I'm not sure if he actually sews. Maybe Daisy sews. Who knows? Oh, looks like he does sew.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
And he takes a nice little break here. We encouraged him to have a rest, which he did. And one more thing about Stitch is he was one of the longest lines outside of the Cheshire Cat. So again, if you're going to this, be sure to get there early because he's right in everybody can see him. He's right on Main Street. So big lines.
We waited about 40 minutes. So, I mean, if you're comparing to Walt Disney World lines, I don't think it's too bad. And it depends on, probably the weekends would be much busier. We went more during the week for this.
Right. And of course, if you want to see the full video and all the shenanigans of Stitch, we will link to that in the show notes. Same location. After 4 o'clock, you have Daisy Duck, and here comes Daisy.
What I didn't notice with Daisy is that her bats, I believe, have hidden Mickeys on them. And it's funny because when we met her, I didn't even see that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that either. That's very good. She had a great outfit. As again, all of these Halloween outfits, I believe, are unique to Disneyland Paris. I don't think I've seen any of them around here.
Well, Daisy's, I believe, was new this year, and I don't even know if she was meeting a couple of years ago. You had Stitch with Minnie, and Minnie was, I don't remember what Mickey was doing.
As I mentioned earlier, though, Daisy was not meeting in the morning because she was very busy, and you can explain why. You can see why right here, actually.
Well, Daisy was leading the way in Mickey's Halloween celebration, which is a parade, cavalcade, whatever you'd like to call it. It's not a full parade, like it's not like Boo to You, which keeps going for long periods of time. But this is just a fun cavalcade parade again, whatever you want to call it.
The music
is
is incredible. We listen to it here all the time now. And of course, there's Daisy kicking off this parade. We'll call it a parade.
Yes.
It happens 3 times a day, every day in October.
And I until November 2nd, which is
right.
the end of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just such a happy parade. It's really not, they call it Halloween, but it really doesn't have a lot to do with Halloween.
It's harvest.
Right. It's very much more an autumn parade. Mm-hmm. And if you've seen the Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, which we've talked about, it is the same song, although they modified it for Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair. It originated from here.
No, Viva la Vie.
No, right. And here is Donald, and you've got the nephews, and you don't see the nephews really, I don't think, at Walt Disney World. I don't remember seeing them here anytime recently.
It's been 20 to 30 years since the nephews have been in a parade at Walt Disney World. They have. I have pictures of it, but this is something that happens now. They're great, and
they are so much fun.
I just can't say enough. And you have Mr. Scrooge also in this lead-off float. There's Scrooge right there.
And Scrooge you do see here. I would love to see more meet and greets. You do see him here greeting generally at the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Right.
I would love to meet the nephews. And here you have not only Tigger, but you have the other Pooh characters in there coming down.
And let's not forget about these pumpkin people. I love the pumpkin people.
Well, you have Piglet, you have Rabbit, you have Eeyore, and Pooh. And those are the Pooh characters. We almost went to Inventions. They were going to have a Pooh brunch,
Pooh,
but no Pooh.
Yes, all the Pooh characters with no Pooh. So that's quite interesting.
And there is Pluto. Some of these characters, some of the performers are new. The ones that look more like scarecrows here, they were not in it for 2014.
Right. We have not seen this in person since 2014. So it's nice to see that they actually upped it rather than minused it. We always like a plus.
And here you have Horace Collar. You have
Clarabelle
Cow. And then you have the 3 little pigs. So this was new in 2014, this float. They have not made any changes that I know of to it. But I think it's called the Raise the Rafters float.
It's always nice to see the 3 little pigs. You know, we don't see them very often around Walt Disney World. I think the last time they made an appearance was the Limited Time Magic, right?
That's the only time I really remember them recently. And here are Mickey and Minnie. They're on really like a harvest float, but they are not.
Cornucopia.
Yes, a cornucopia. And they are not are they the last characters? They are not the last characters.
Is that a beret? Mickey looks very French somehow in this.
Like a beret? I don't know if that's a beret.
I'll tell you one thing about France.
I don't think that's a
beret. Nobody wears a beret.
No
beret.
Pretty much not. I don't even know if I think it's just like a harvest hat with fruit on it.
Okay.
And then you have
Clarice.
Yes, Clarice. You don't ever see her here.
She never comes out.
No, and Chip and Dale. So they are the end of the cornucopia.
Yes. Anyway, we love it. We saw it all 3 performances on opening day.
Yeah, almost every day.
And pretty much every day we were there for 4 days of the Halloween celebration, and we didn't really miss it any of those days, I don't think.
And here is Maleficent's Brambles. This is behind the castle. This looks gorgeous at night. This changes color to like purple and red and blue, I think. I mean, it just is gorgeous.
And here is the very menacing Maleficent herself. I had such a good time interacting with her. Again, I always like the face characters as well. Plus, she showed her ring, too. I was told to ask to see her ring there.
Now, back in 2014, all of the characters, all of the villains met back here. And Maleficent actually did a little show up on, you can see where the guests are. This is where the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough is.
Right, and the second floor there.
Right, and so she would do a little show 2 or 3 times a day at least, and then they don't do that anymore.
Right, they don't do that because now they have the villains all meeting in a much bigger area. It's much more civilized, although I did have a lot of fun. We were there the very first day they did it here, and people didn't know about it, so at that time it was pretty nice, but then it just got nutty. Here's the new area. This is where the stage is, where they're going to have the villain show. We'll be talking about that later. And, you know, much easier, much more room to meet and interact with the villains. And of course, that was probably a highlight for us. We loved meeting the villains.
Well, I liked when they were in the brambles. I didn't mind that. I don't think this, certainly there is much more room here for the villains to have their, I don't want to say lines. They don't really have lines. There is the, there's the hag.
Well, the best, I think the very best place to meet the villains is Town Square.
Absolutely. When they do it, they didn't do it every day. They did it on days where the villain shows were not playing in the evening.
Right.
So then
weekdays,
they would come out.
Basically weekdays.
Right. And here comes Jafar. This is Town Square. You have Cruella here and the hag running.
It is not published, so most guests do not have any idea that this is going to happen. And, you know, they all of a sudden all come out. Now, the hag here was absolutely hysterical, and we feel so sorry for her handler here trying to keep up with her.
And she was not the only one. I mean, there were several of the villains who really, you know, kind of ran around, like the Red Queen ran after guests and the hag ran after guests. And this was probably the most fun meet and greet that I have. I mean, it's not like we met everybody because you can see the hags running around.
Well, I like how the hag just comes upon a baby carriage and decides to just push it there. You know, how nice to see the hag pushing the baby along. And she takes great joy in surprising the young guests. Watch this, little kid playing with his lightsaber, and all of a sudden he has to meet the hag.
And then he got scared, but then she gave him some. I think she gave him some candy.
That's right.
So then he was fine.
Yeah, the hag always gets out of it by giving candy to the people she scares.
So you know, it was just a really fun time. I mean, the little boy was fine.
Oh yeah, no, every single person was charmed by the hag. Trust me, it was tremendous. Everybody was
and there's
smiling
our friend
and laughing.
Matthias,
yes.
He has a website too from Belgium. I think it may be just about the only Belgium Disney site.
Yeah, that's right. We met so many nice, great people. I mean, really, the people are what make it. After you get back from a trip, all the great people you hang around with and meet.
I really miss this. If Disneyland Paris Halloween, like I could live there for a month and just go there like every day for Halloween because I just enjoy it so much.
And we put up a extended villains montage. We'll link to that with all the shenanigans of all the villains. This is the nightly show they do. They have 2 of these shows. I believe it's called It's Good to Be Bad.
With the Disney villains. And they're about 6 or 7 minutes each. And you'll recognize songs like Boo to You. It's Good to Be Bad. There's a number of songs. Some songs you won't recognize, but some you will. And one is in French, one is in English. Sometimes they play at night, which, as you can see, the nighttime.
Nighttime is definitely better if you're going to this event and you can be there on the weekend for nighttime.
But then you won't see them in the town square, so it's nice to be able to kind of do both.
Go multiple days.
Yes, multiple days. You kind of want it. It's just... And look at Gaston. Gaston especially is just such a fantastic dancer.
What I like about Disneyland Paris is they have their castle stage on the side of the castle, so it doesn't, clog up the proceedings. People can still walk through the castle the whole day, and but then this show can go on next to the castle with the great background. Plus, there's these great water effects too that shoot up from the moat. You can see the water back there, so it's a really, really great setup.
The water, the fountains are what they use also for Disney Dreams, and Disney Dreams, the fireworks show, did not have the fountains for the first week that we were there. So it was nice that we were still there when they started that back up.
Right, they're doing a little refurbishment, getting ready for Halloween time, and I'm glad that we were there for such a long time. We were able to see all this in full force.
Well, once we did the marathon weekend, I knew ahead of time I wanted to be there for Halloween because we loved it so much in 2014, and I loved it even more for 2016. And I wish I could be there every year for it because I think it's a spectacular event. And if you can be there for it, we got such a great deal going over. Really just a fantastic deal going to Paris, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, the plan is if we can swing it, we'd love to go back for the 25th anniversary.
In
That's
April.
coming up in April, and perhaps every other year we can be there. I know you want every year. Maybe every other year we can be there for Halloween.
I just
because
want to live in
this
France.
Halloween, I tell you, is tremendous. I just can't get enough. Not to say the Halloween here isn't great too, with the Mickey's not so scary Halloween party, but you know it gets very crowded. You have to pay extra. I kind of like this. It's more of a low key thing, and
it's a lot
just
of villains.
so much fun.
There are so many villains that you can see and meet, and it's just again, I'm a character person, but I'm not like the character. I'm not a character hunter or something, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy getting to meet them and see them and watch them run around town square. That was so much fun.
So that is our show for this week. We're going to have much, much more. Plus, Walt Disney World stuff, we went to the very last Main Street Electrical Parade. We just saw the Muppet Mobile Lab. We have all sorts of stuff coming from here. So we're not going to do any more full France shows, but we'll show a little bit from our trip and a lot of the new stuff that we did. So we want to thank our sponsors, MEI Travel, Mouse Fan Travel.
Thank you for using them. I mean, it's really a big deal for us to have them as our sponsor, and also Maple Leaf Tickets.
That's right. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging in there. Thanks for listening to us. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.